なのどうやって？
これを体内に埋め込む。
Cerveza cristal. Cerveza cristal.
They going there? They went there. They got there. I mean, they went there before, but to start things off as brutal as they actually did? God. I gave warning in my last review that the audience currently is finding the show too scary. And I do feel that with the tone that we got this week, it's probably going to be echoed yet again. I can only hope that it falls on deaf ears, because this show has really become something special. Seriously, have y'all heard anyone actually being negative about it? I mean, I know I haven't. But if the show does take a weird turn come February, March, then we obviously know why. But for now, let's enjoy what we've got, because this week's focus is on Hanto. That's right, going back to his place of work to tell his boss about his encounter with Gavv and the agents, just for him to not be there. But wait, he did have that stakeout, so maybe it just went on long. So he finds his way over there to find not just his stuff, but his glass as well. Wait, that glass looks a little small. Oh, he's dead. Also, look, bro got glassed hours ago. And you mean no one tried to snatch up that wallet or that nice expensive camera? Man, Japan, y'all too nice. Well, you know what? If you keep that wallet, then you'll get that in here. Oh, wait, where are you going? He left the wallet. So, he takes that glass over to Suga, who just can't do shit for him. But he was all that Hanto had. I mean, look, his mom got snatched up, Grandma Bim passed away, and Boss Guy took him in after he was living his life as a lowly street punk. And now, he's got nothing. Again. Except maybe a need for vengeance. Because Suga's got a potential lead on the Granute that done did it. And he's also cooked up a weapon to strike at the Granutes. But it's not just enough to have that gun, but you also need to have that Granute-like power. And what a better way to do that than with an ice-cold glass of Cerveza Cristal. Oh wait, that was the opening bit. But here is a Granute organ, just enough to power Hanto. In theory, because it hasn't been done yet. No testing. So, is Hanto about to become a guinea pig? No, he's gonna go cry about it first. Since after losing his moms and his grandma, he pretty much became a delinquent. Until the boss man came and took him in. And with that, guinea pig him up! Ooh, local anesthesia too? You're gonna be feeling a bit. You know what, let's check in on what everybody else is doing. Shoma is waking up in a comfy bed for once. And what's for breakfast but chocolate? Getting in that mud gut early in the morning. Who's that Gochizo? Listen, I think I know the game by now. Mr. Hanky. It's... You know what? I'll accept it. And Shoma accepts that now that he's got little minions, it's time to put them to work. Having them patrol the city for him. But just when you think everything's good, who else but Sachika to bust on in? Also, what happened to his cookie Gochizo? We saw him in like episode 1. Where is he now? We haven't seen you use him. You know, you might want to add that one to the kill count this week, Kiva. I'm sorry, but don't tell me how to do my job. Yeah, but look, I've been doing this for like a few years now. Like, this is the 4th main writer show that I've covered on here. And so I kinda know what I'm doing. He knows what he's doing already, yeah. Yeah, that's why your subs are as low as they are, right? Because you know what you're doing. Because I've been keeping track of all the others in this same sphere, and there's several that started after you and are more than double yours already. So, yeah, obviously you know what you're doing. Oh, wow. God, you ain't gotta do me like that. Look, I'll have you know that the parallel version of you once told me that the parallel version of me had 10k subs. Then you're clearly the worst version of yourself. Right in the feels. Hey, listen. I'm pretty cutthroat. It's kind of what we Nintendo ninjas do. There's several of us. But anyway, how about I cheer you up with some saucy photos of Sachika? What you talking about, Kiva? Hey, Zio, what's going on?
A few moments later.
So, Sachika busts in and notices the leftover toys. But what are they? Kenzo? What about Gochizo? And with that, the girl that went a whole episode without exchanging names with Shoma names the gimmick of the show. Afterwards, he goes to check in on his uncle, just to give him some snacks on snacks on snacks as a bribe, so they can help him understand his powers. But this is also to go against his family, and he's essentially gonna have to go against his family. But you think he's just gonna turn heel because you brought him some Earthnacks?
Is such a thing even possible? Yes, it is.
Great, because the family's got issues, as Shitter and G asked Nita for some assistance. But the guy's not one to stop an experiment already in progress. But who needs experiments when Gochizo's found a freak-off about to pop off, with last week's Renew taking in a show audience member under the cloth just to and there's Shoma! Hey, wait, why are you upset at Shoma? Like, did you not see that tongue? Hold up, I got you. See, right as Shoma snatched up that girl, you can clearly see that the guy was shocked by that tongue action, but still proceeded to get on Shoma's case. But if you look at the audience, however, you can clearly see that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and look, she clearly got that on film. 6, and I think that girl's enjoying this a little bit too much. 7, 8 folks were down with the tongue, which in short just means that the audience some freaks. Thanks for that breakdown, because Shoma does chase down that guy just to Henshin. With this week's fight brought to you by Johnson's Baby Oil. Not just one bottle, but 1,000, also known as a Diddy Dozen, because this fight is about to get slick. Because the moves popping early as we get that Hitmontop twirl, with Gavv getting a few hits in until he's gonna bring out the big boot. But that thing is just too wet to ground pound, and the spores be explosive, letting Wet Shroom slide away and right into handy-capable Hanto, who comes equipped with gun and someone else's snack, giving us a second Henshin. Brought to you by X-Lax. Get them pipe cleans before the lube comes through that Hershey highway. Gross. Introducing Valen. Fresh off that surgery and with aim like a stormtrooper, he takes the long range close and caps at .0 range. But Shroom's got explosives, but Valen's got uppercuts, taking them both to the high ground. But Valen shows Obi Come On Blow Me why the low ground is superior. Take that, high ground. Here comes the chocolate salty balls, and out comes the shit dick. This week's kill count is 1 Granute and 3 Gochizos. Does Valen use up that guy? I'm gonna assume so, since Suga takes a few more. With this episode of Kamen Rider Gavv, we get the debut of Valen. So with that, let's talk more. Listen, that transformation was kinda all over the place. Why gotta look like a toilet overflowed all over him? Gross. But the foil unwrapping? Mwah! I gotta say that at first I wasn't too big of a fan of the suit, but in motion, it does do something for me. But it's mostly because of that candy red coating that we have out there. It just outright having the word chocolate all over the armor is a little bit awkward though. It's a pretty mid suit in most regards. There's some things that I like and some things that I don't like. But I will say that looking at the back part of the armor, it almost looks like the thing can flip to the front. Something about it just doesn't really scream back piece and screams chest piece. I will say that out of the suits that we've gotten within the show thus far, I will put this one above Chips, but below Full Malo and Base Gavv. Rating time! This episode continues the trend that the show has set, and in rewatches, this one actually keeps getting better, because this gave us an instant payoff to Hanto's boss and mentor being got. Not only that, but the scheming that's coming out of that may be potential plot threads for the future. We get a bit of insight into Nerub's thought process, and yes, he is all about the experimentation. Seriously, this show isn't taking us for dumb, single-minded folks and is driving a narrative in a way I can appreciate so well. And that fight, raw as fuck. We doing it, folks. This episode is gonna get the brand new Sachika S+. Get that oil ready because we going mudding today. For those unfamiliar with my rating system, once again, there's a video explaining it, but going beyond an S means that not only did I find this episode to be perfection, but it got some extra credit points on there. And that comes in the form of the execution of Hanto's boss's demise. Pun not intended. Because Nerub is out here playing 4D chess. He was already aware of what Suga was cooking up because of Hanto's big mouth last week, but he purposely left the glassified guy out for Hanto to find and drive up the innovation. What I was not counting on was that the glass would be broken into two, and although it's implied that a cracking like that, well, dead is dead. But Nerub's a smart guy. He's going to dangle that low-hanging half and imply that he knows a way to bring him back. This would make Hanto come to a difficult decision at some point in time, and difficult decision seems to be what Hanto's been doing. Also, real quick, I did have some people wondering just how Hanto was able to fight right after surgery, and, fight rough. But once again, the show shows us that he was a delinquent in high school, getting into fights and stuff. That tiny scene explains the other side of Hanto that we get to see with the fighting. It's like I've said in previous shows that I've reviewed, when something just feels out of place, that sometimes a small scene can make the difference between an awkward delivery and a flawless execution. And that's what we got with this additional scene. But yeah, now back to Hanto's tough decision making, because he did have to do one this week. And that was with Suga, who is vastly becoming more interesting with the tone of this episode. As there's one thing that stood out to me besides the organ that I feel most are going to be fixated on. See, when he mentions that he studied the slime on the glass and broke it down to a fungal slime, he pretty much implies that he's got a list of granutes that he's been tracking and knows their true forms. This can offer up some more hints as to how he was able to acquire the organ that he transplanted into Hanto. Since if he's been actively tracking and possibly has a list of granutes, then keeping tabs on the fallen ones, then he might have acquired the organ. After all, in his debut, he shows up right after Gavv defeats one, which some would find as good timing, but if he already was tracking them, then he could have just been making the rounds and got lucky. The organ itself is kind of obvious that it's a human heart. The openings at the top and the bottom seem to line up well with the atriums and the lower with the aorta. Which, does that imply that Suga did a heart transplant on Hanto? Well, unless he went in from the abdomen and then went under the ribcage, then maybe not. And I gotta say that I started researching open heart surgery right after having that theory on the process, and boy did I get lightheaded and start feeling nauseated just reading the details. Boy, they are really making these scientists work though, because even the show called out my earlier speculation that yes, Suga was indeed using Hanto as a guinea pig, and he reluctantly went that route in order to finally get vengeance that he deserved. This show is giving us scientist on scientist action with a side of even more scientist action. Because of course we got Suga and his purpose of eradicating the Granute, though what his personal feelings are on the matter, I guess we'll find out in the future. Nidab is also witnessing the changes with Hanto, as well as looking at the research notes from Shoma's Gavv's modification, which if you look at the notes that he had, you can see what appears to be Shoma's original Gavv. And sure, that's a nice origin point to it all, and it also shows those who thought that Shoma just didn't have a Gavv until his surgery, proof that he had one. But I feel that these notes will lead to our villain writer of the season. Yeah, look, I know you either love it or hate it when it comes to villain writers in these shows. I'm personally not a big fan of bad Kamen writers. But yeah, seeing the modifications to one's Gavv to such an extent to alter one's appearance and moveset, skill set, and just about, I guess, everything in between, I wouldn't doubt that Nidab just wouldn't be chopping at the bit to create his own guinea pig Granutes. And then on the other side of things, we have Dente, who will likely serve to upgrade Shoma to help build up his potential and keep in mind what his father wanted, while likely continuing to be our viewpoint as to what Bosch was really like. Outside of all that science shit, I really enjoy that now that the show has shown us that the Kenzaku of the Stomach family are those agents, Shoma is using his as agents as well, having them periodically patrol the city and report back. This is great because up until now, that's how Shoma has found the Granute of the week, outside of episode 1 that is. But it makes it more real on how he would be able to track them down, or find hidden Granutes in human society. But I'm also wondering if the video of the Granute's tongue sticking out will come into play later. Because, yeah, if you go back to that scene, there is one person in the back that's recording it on her phone. So she not only caught the exposed Granute tongue, but also Shoma snatching up old Cuck's girl. Overall, this episode really had it all. Payoffs to previous questions, such as Hanto's boss, and Shoma's original Gavv, while raising more questions, like how did Suga even come across that organ? It fleshed out more on the background info, such as Hanto's upbringing after his mom got snatched, and currently, I feel that we've got unredeemable members within the Stomach family. Because look, I don't know about y'all, but I'm tired of redemption stories for these bad guys, especially way more recently. Like, just let bad folks be bad folks. And obviously, Shoma's got animosity towards them all, but I feel Grota after snapping his mom? Yes. Hanto will likely be involved with Nidab and having true hate for him after finding out about the plot against his boss. Like, we're still really early in, and we've gotten so much consistency that I just love it. It's so good. Out of the first 6 episodes of a show's run for writer, Gavv's gotta be near the top. But look, as I mentioned last video and the beginning of this video, I still fear for Toei being reactionary, as the surgery scene might have been too much for some folks. Because while folks were focusing on Suga literally having blood on his hands, I was busy looking at Hanto's ring that reads, "The truth is what? What is it?" But yeah, I do feel like the tones of this show may shift come the halfway point. I hope I'm wrong. Cause seriously, y'all, this show, I am loving it so much. Once again, this feels like a Showa series in modern day, outside of the visual appearance of the writers, of course. But It shows that you can indeed do a proper drama with some goofiness and strike a proper balance. Hanzo just had one of the best introductions as a secondary writer, while the villains keep being expounded on. Hell, everything's getting expounded on. And while Shoma was born half human, half Gnu, now we have Hanzo getting some of that Gnu aspect on there, which leads to proper speculation of, is Nira going to create a Granute with human elements? And then, would we end up getting an evil writer that turns good? Yo, that's straight up show. Like, they just keep showing it up. Showing it up. That last thought wasn't even in the script. I literally just thought of it at that time. But, God, before I keep on going, those are my thoughts. What are yours? What did you think about Kamen Rider Gavv Episode 6? Valen's debut as a writer. How did Suga get the heart? And what is Nira cooking? Anyway, that's it for me. If work doesn't keep me getting away from home physically for days on end, then hopefully I can return to covering both shows on a weekly basis. But until then, bye